Okay, thank you, everybody. Welcome to Dr. Murray Journey. Catherine, Andy, is that correct? Okay, and Gwen, I'll let you tell me that. Yes. Very good, thank you so much. So anyways, we're looking forward to your presentation. Who's going to lead it off?
I am happy to take the lead on that. Thank you very much for your time and allowing us to present this exciting work to you today. I'll be taking you through a brief overview of the outcomes of the wildlife connectivity work on behalf of the Wildlife Connectivity Project. As we're moving through the slide deck, is it okay to just let you know to advance?
Yes, that works.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Before we talk about the outcomes of the connectivity network, just wanted to recognize the many project collaborators, the SLRD being a core partner for us. And without your feedback, input, and much more, this project would not move forward. So just wanted to recognize the many voices being expressed in this work. You can advance to the next slide, please. Today, we'll be talking about the outcomes of the wildlife connectivity, and we'll be sharing some maps in just a moment. But I wanted to bring to your attention 3 additional goals of the Wildlife Connectivity Project. And these 4 sort of pillars of the project turn into a suite of tools that we hope to be able to share with you and work together with you as we're all managing lands and working together within the Sea to Sky region. These results can be interpreted down to the various areas of interest, the SLRD being one of them. And together we hope to be able to help you connect, protect, and restore wildlife habitat within your region. Next slide, please. So if we zoom into the Squamish Valley as an example, the map shown here and in this inset show the trends in ecosystem health over the last 40 years. And what I hope is apparent is that there's been significant loss, particularly in the valley bottoms, which coincides with where a lot of the rapid development has been happening in the Squamish area and also similar cities in the north of the Sea to Sky region. This has major implications on ecosystem health as a whole and the resilience of the ecosystem. I mean, not only that, but it's also impacting the ability for wildlife to navigate the landscape as they find suitable habitat. So if we have a good understanding of what the condition of the environment is looking like, at least over the last 40 years, it feels like there's a piece missing, something that can be overlaid that acts as a bit as a solution to, sort of reversing some of these losses in ecosystem health or capitalizing on some of the gains that we've also experienced over time. And that will look something like this little graphic on the bottom right-hand side of your screen here, which we're calling a connectivity network. And that's what we at the Wildlife Connectivity Project have created for your use within the SLRD. And so if you move to the next slide, please. You can begin to think, what might a connectivity network look like? In a traditional modeling approach, the connectivity network would we would map a connectivity network for each species within a community and then add them all together. So you would take all of the habitat patches and movement pathways that matter to each species in a community and put them together into one map. Now I've created a sort of graphic version of that on your screen here for just 6 species in a community, in a hypothetical community. And you can see here that this is a rather busy map. It's sort of hard to follow the various arrows or movement pathways for each of the species in this community. And from a land management perspective, if we have limited capacity or means to protect land, it's difficult to prioritize which habitat patches and which movement pathways should be of highest concern or highest impact. Next slide, please. And so this leads us to really the driving question for our connectivity network. And that is, how can we map a connectivity network that maximizes meeting the ecological needs of wildlife and is also interpretable and actionable for partners? So we're looking to simplify our connectivity network without sacrificing the needs of the community of species that we have in this landscape. Next slide, please. So the map on the left is our answer to that question. This is the connectivity network that we have produced from this work. And this map shows in green the core habitat patches that are of highest value to 18 different focal species of mammals and herptiles in the sea to sky region. They are also connected by movement pathways or corridors that are expressed in priority. So they show priority based on relative use among different groupings of these 18 focal species. So the darkest blue areas of the corridor show the highest connectivity potential. And how we arrived at this map is shown on the graphic on the right. This modeling process is broken down into 3 different stages. In stage 1, we assessed where on the landscape shows high suitability for 18 different focal species. In stage 2, we refined those habitat suitability maps into just their highest quality habitat patches. And then in stage 3, we connected those habitat patches via movement corridors or movement pathways. Next slide, please. And so what you get is, again, this map showing the connectivity network. And if we zoom into the Squamish and Whistler Valley in the inset on the right, you can see well, we hope that you can see a set of core habitat patches that are of highest value to 18 different focal species and their connectivity pathways. And so we hope that this becomes a tool that you can use to mitigate some of the challenges that we're facing with the ongoing development in the valleys, maybe to expand upon protected areas, and to facilitate movement of wildlife and resources across this landscape so we can improve the overall health and resilience of the landscape. To our knowledge, this is the first of its kind in this region to model and map a connectivity network for a suite of species. And this sort of differs from the traditional modeling approach for a connectivity network in that it's a bit more simplified, it's a bit more interpretable and actionable. So it's not showing every single habitat patch and corridor that matters to all of the 18 focal species in this community, but rather it's showing the highest value habitat patches and movement pathways so that we as land managers can begin to take action and sort of know where to begin. Next slide, please. And so if we were to cut out the shape of the Squamish-Lillooet Regional District from this map of the connectivity network, this is what you would see. And our goal with the Wildlife Connectivity Project is to now hand this tool over to you to be implemented however it best fits into your regional growth strategy. And we are here to provide support in any capacity for you to implement this tool. We welcome any feedback that you might have on either our modeling process or the outcomes that you've seen on this connectivity, on the map of the connectivity network. And we welcome any input you might have on how to implement it into your work. And that's all we have to share for this short presentation. Thank you very much again for your time. We're happy to stand by for any questions that you might have.
Thank you very much. Chris.
Yeah, thank you. It's really, I think, an important project. I am a bit curious. You know, normally with these sorts of projects, I'm used to sort of seeing a focus on large mammals exclusively. This has 18 focal species, like you said. I'm just wondering if you can speak a little more to why those 18 species and not others, or why not a smaller number?
Sure. Yep. I'm happy to take that question, and Murray or Gwen, feel free to jump in if needed. Thank you very much for your thoughts and feedback on that. The 18 focal species that we are working with at present reflect both the priority of, expressed interest and priority among the various partners and collaborators that we have mentioned earlier in this presentation. So we first surveyed them to see what species are of concern in their area. And then we looked to see how many of those species and what additional species do we have actually enough wildlife observations for. So we're looking for data to be able to create these models, particularly that stage 1 where we were mapping the areas of suitability on the landscape. And so we need enough empirical data to be able to create those maps to complete stage 1 of that model. So our goal was to utilize as many species as we could in that area to round out the community of mammals and herptiles, while placing a special emphasis on the ones that were designated as priority for our collaborators.
Jen?
Thank you, the chair. Thanks for the presentation and all of the work. This is really exciting to see it come to fruition. A little bit of a technical question in terms of how we actually move to implement this. So what is the actual format of the maps, and how do we talk about integrating them into existing, whether it's GIS systems within various local governments? Like what does that actually look like from a usability perspective?
Sure. Yep. Thank you very much for that question. I think I'll pass it to Murray to talk about some of the plans for implementation.
Yeah, thanks, Kate, and thanks, Jen, for that question. So our model is a model, so everything that we do will be made available to our partners through some kind of open data portal where partners can access information, not just the summary maps that Kate showed, but all of the components as needed. And we have already shared information like that with all of our partners, with the GIS planning staff for all of our partners. And we'll continue to do that as we move forward. On the implementation side, we're interested in working again with our partners to develop planning support guides that would make use of those maps and other supporting information to better align with planning activities that are ongoing within each of our partners' jurisdictions.
Fantastic, thank you.
Anybody else?
I can't resist. I have lots of questions, so I'm just going to confine myself to one. I appreciate that most of your work is in Whistler Squamish, and where the big pressure is. I'm up in the Lillooet area and Area B, and I see lots of nice habitat cores and patches. I know those areas. I love them all. Have you done much work on the mountain goats up in the northern part of the SLRD? Because I saw that was one of the species you referenced.
Yep, I can take that question. Thanks for that great question. And we have incorporated mountain goat into that model, but to my knowledge off the top of my head, I do not think that we had enough data, or we did not receive any data in the most northern portion, so the Lillooet area.
Yeah, that makes sense.
We were able to obtain the habitat suitability maps for mountain goat through a secured agreement, data agreement with provincial wildlife biologists. And so the maps that they were able to provide us was a more focused region, sort of in the center, if you will, spans across the center of that map of the sea to sky region. So, you know, in the future, if we have access to more data to fill out the full region, you will see the cores and corridors reflected, you know, for mountain goat in that area. But to answer your question directly, we did not have enough data for mountain goat in the northern portion at this time.
I understand. Thank you. This is excellent work. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else?
Move proceed.
Okay. Moves, seconded.
Just, I could make a couple of comments. Up in the north of the region that we've got here, we've got bighorn sheep. And just curious why they weren't picked, or was it more towards sea to sky that he doesn't have the bighorn sheep? And the same question, kind of comment about the mountain goats. We definitely have mountain goats in area A around the Bridge River Valley. And like they're everywhere. There's a herd of them, about 40 up in El Dorado Basin, and which is in South Dakota Park. So we've got lots of mountain goat, and we've got bighorn sheep in the Shulap Range. And of course, in the Lillooet area too.
Yeah, thanks for that great question. And as a detail, I might just say that it's that knowledge that you come with that is so important for validating the connectivity network that we've produced. So just hearing where you've seen mountain goat or bighorn sheep is going to be hugely important for the implementation portion of this work, and making sure that any revisions that we do on the model in the future reflect that knowledge. So I appreciate you sharing that with us. As far as the selection of bighorn sheep and why we were not able to incorporate it, would be largely because we did not have enough data throughout the sea to sky region to be able to adequately map habitat suitability for that particular species. So we're working with partners to acquire more data. We're working with community members to submit wildlife observations on iNaturalist. That's primarily where we are pooling data from to build these models. So in the future, if there's the potential for it with adequate data, we're certainly not we're not aiming to exclude any species.
The Northern Statlium and Statland Government Services is a good facilitator for you, and also the wildlife biologist for our area, which is in Kamloops. Francis Ardell.
Great, thank you for those connections.
Lots of that.
Yeah, you would think the Fish and Wildlife branch would have.
So it's
all kinds of data.
and the Northern Stallion have just as much, if not more.
Very good.
Yep. And thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else? Tony?
Just a comment, I'd just like to say thank you to Murray and Gwen and Catherine for this presentation. I've been sort of following this project for a few years now, and I'm really excited to see where they're at, and really compliment them on the kind of passion they have for this work. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, you moved it, or we'll receive this report. move the 11.1.
Is it all in favor done?
Yeah.
Question.
Yes, call a question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. We'd like to move 11.1, which is a request for funding, Squamish Environment Society Wildlife Connectivity Improvement to anything else. So you want to move that?
Yep.
Okay, seconded.
The motion said it doesn't include a funding source, and I just wasn't sure if this is general government or if it's.
I'll include that in the motion. It is from Southern Tilt Funds. Yeah.
Actually, what I thought it said
It in your
okay.
handwritten.
You ready for that motion now?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'd like to move that we approve this request for funding and that the funds be taken from Southern Tilt. No second.
Moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
I'll speak to it if that's okay. Just thank you for all the work to date. I think this is easy decision to support this funding. I think it's very important work. As much as it's laid out as the final year of the project, I think we should just be aware that there's a wonderful project here that has great output that we need to actually resource and figure out how to take this forward in the work that we do here. So it's maybe the end of the beginning, but not the end of the project in my mind. But happy to support. Thank you for all of your work on this, everyone involved, and for spending the time with us here today. Thank you.
Chris.
Yeah, much the same and maybe being presumptuous, but I'm looking forward to having sort of a final version of this, the last phase, and getting it integrated into our RGS and OCPs and so on. And really starting to use this in our decision making. Thank you.
So is there any buy-in to your project from the province, like Fish and Wildlife or forestry or anybody? I guess Catherine?
Sorry, Murray, would you like to take that question?
Yeah, we have representation from provincial ministries, Ministry of Waterland and Resource Stewardship, Ministry of Forests, Ministry of Environment. They sit on both our steering committee and our technical working group, so we certainly benefit from the knowledge resources that they bring to the project and the direction they provide. We don't have any direct funding through those ministries for this work as of date. We are very grateful for the support we've received from our partners and from various other funding agencies who share this mandate for biodiversity conservation and ecological connectivity. I appreciate the comments made that this is, while we're in the last stage of the project, we very much are looking at the future and kind of building a framework and building the capacity to keep this work moving forward. And so we are excited to explore any opportunities with other levels of government, with other First Nations in our region to move this work forward.
Thank you very much.
Any questions?
So it's been moved, pardon me? Anybody else? No? It's moved and seconded. Call a question, all in favor, opposed, motion carried. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Thank
nice
you.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay, a motion to move back into closed.
So moved.
So second.